Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun, looking at charts and going over some data. And so this is the pre-market prep for Friday, February 7th. I believe that we have a jobs report coming out in about 30 minutes. So that should be maybe sparking a little bit of volatility and or some upside downside in the SPY. So we'll be looking at that when it happens. And then there are a couple of stocks that I wanted to look over, as well as Bitcoin and uranium. And so, yeah, let's dive into it. Doing it live here today because I'm not at work today. And so, yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. And if you are able to join, let me know in the chat. Say hi, good morning. And yeah, happy Friday to you guys. All right, and so, as usual, I'm going to start here with the UVIX, which is the 2X long VIX futures ETF. I like to look at this because you can trade it without having to trade options contracts like you do with the VIX. And I've also noticed kind of these 2 week cycles where it goes, more or less up for a couple weeks and then kind of pulls back for a couple weeks. And so we are looking at like we are at the end of, this kind of 2 week green period. So I do think that over the course of the next couple weeks might be pulling down to 27. I suspect so. If not going lower, potentially to 25. And I think yesterday I drew some other lines over here. Yeah, it looks like a Fibonacci extension. Let's see, going from the high over here and just drawing that retracement there, or that extension, I should say, that puts the 786 right here at about 2250, and that would, at this point in time, coincide with testing the base of this parallel channel. So, I would say 25 actually at this point is kind of a little bit arbitrary because we didn't get to it in this red phase over here. And so we might be getting, down to there, but then coinciding with that downtrend, that light blue line, that would be around 2250. And then we can see that bigger picture. We do have this light blue parallel channel that price has resided in for quite some time. And because we did recently have a reverse split, 1 for 10, it's pretty common for these ETFs to have that because I believe of contango, they do fade over time. And so the reverse split kind of manages that. And so with that being said, this will be fading over time. So I would not be surprised at all if it comes down to 25 or 2250 over the course of the next couple weeks. Might be good dip buying opportunities. But yeah, it did close yesterday on Thursday the 6th at $28, being down about 1.33% on the day. And it looks like it's, flat in the pre-market. So we'll have to look at that in just a second. But did want to point out here this gap that was previously filled at 27.42. We can see that over here did fill it right in here, and we are now trading notably $2 below $30 here, marked by this orange line. But yeah, let's flip over to the 10-minute time frame so we can look at this a little bit closer and just kind of consider where it was at relative to these levels during yesterday's trading. And it actually doesn't really look like it, was testing any of these levels yesterday at all, because we do have that previously filled gap down here at 27.42. The low yesterday during market hours as well as pre-market after hours was 27.73. Going up to a high of 29.04, and then towards the end of the day we did pull back, retracing any of those gains. So that was a little bit exciting over here, but then we did give it all back, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, just more or less being flat here. It does look like it's up 4 cents or 0.15% in the pre-market, but I think this is all going to be, waiting for the jobs report data, so we'll have to see what happens with that. I suspect there will be a little bit of volatility around that, and we'll see it in the pre-market data here with the UVIX, whereas we will not with the VIX because that does not trade pre-market after hours because it's only options. And so the VIX did close yesterday at a price of $15.50, being down about 1.7%. And we could see it here on the 10-minute time frame. And let's see, the 6th was yesterday. So I'm just going to bring this cursor back to when the 6th started, right over here. And yeah, just kind of faded first part of the day, but then boosted up before pulling back, nearly getting back to this gap that has yet to be filled, and that is at 1485. I do have an alert set there for when that does get filled, and you can see we did almost fill it back here on the 31st, coming down to a low of $14.90 before we moved up to $20.42 hit on the 3rd of February. But yeah, then if I do switch over to the daily time frame, we can just kind of get a bigger picture view of this. We do have this longer term uptrend that did act as support over here. Then we broke below it, kind of played around it. But then over the past 4 days, over this entire week, every single day has been a red day. Maybe we're putting in a hammer candle here. Maybe this is the bottom. And we will be seeing a bounce in the volatility index, or the VIX, which would mean a pullback in the SPX, SPY. And so I do think it will be good for us to look over there at those. But just looking at this before I do that, do have that gap that needs to be filled here at 1485. Maybe that happens today. I could see that happening. But with this being a hammer candle and also looking over at the UVIX, this is more of a kind of a gravestone doji with the big wick to the upside, not much to the downside, and opening and closing at the exact same price of $28. So this could be, well, I should say if this was at the top, that would be a very bearish signal that there would be a reversal. But since this is kind of at the bottom here, it might be signaling that we are going to get a reversal, a bounce to the upside. Suggests a little bit of indecision with the open and close at the exact same price. But yeah, looking at the VIX, if we do bounce, I suspect we could get a rejection around 18 or so, pulling back up to this uptrending level here. And if that does happen, we do get a rejection there. What are some levels to the downside? Or, even if we don't get a bounce, what are some levels to the downside? Coming back to 1270, I'm just going to adjust that axis so we can see over here, 1270 was the low from December 6th. So might be retesting that maybe the next couple of weeks, like there are these kind of 2-week cycles, being green for a couple of weeks and then being red for a couple of weeks, which is, of course, just arbitrary, something that I like to kind of look at with the UVIX over here. But yeah, if I think that this is going to be entering another red box, I would say that the VIX is also likely coming down. But anyways, let's flip over to the SPY. We can see that we did not only get above and fill the gap here at 601.82, we also closed on Wednesday above the downtrending level here that does make up the top part of this parallel channel here. We did close above that on Wednesday, and then we did put in this nice dragonfly doji, although not closing at the exact same price that we opened at yesterday. We opened at 605.99, closed 33 cents above that, looking like it closed at 606.32. And we are currently down a little bit, about 30 cents in the pre-market, which we'll look over at in the 10-minute time frame in just a minute. But yeah, I mean, this is looking good. This is looking like, did get a close above that parallel channel, and then a close above that high, so that's looking nice. And then if we do look at the volume down here, it was initially, pretty big volume here, and then it kind of came down. But then, from the 5th, so that would be on, Wednesday, we had a volume of 30.65 million. Yesterday on Thursday, I was a little bit higher at 35.77 million. So with this going higher, the volume does match. That is looking a little bit better. And maybe looking at the MACD histogram here, we can see that it has been green, pulled back some, but did not go negative, and doesn't look like it's going to be flipping. Like over here, it was just this gradual trend from red to green. From green over here, we're seeing this gradual trend, but then it kind of flattened out positive. And so maybe we do get a continuation higher. And so I would think that that's what we will be seeing. That does match up with kind of moving into the red zone with the UVIX and potentially getting up to new highs with the SPY. So I think jobless claims, the numbers will probably be lower than expected, and then that will be good for the markets. I believe it's jobless claims. Maybe it's something else. We'll have to look in about 20 minutes. Have to Google that or check out X to see what the info is. But yeah, we do have this gap up here at right around 608. Was previously filled with the wick up from the 31st. And then, yeah, getting back up to, looks like this all-time high of 610.78. Maybe we see that next week or the week after. It's quite possible we even see that today. But yeah, generally, this is just looking like a really nice structure with the moves to the upside and then a sideways consolidation above this yellow down trending level. That does look like a bull flag, putting in lower lows here and lower highs, just waiting for that breakout. So we will have to see, and maybe I actually do want to draw a trend line, and that would suggest where the breakout could be. And so I'm just going to connect that with the open price over here, intersect it with the open price over here. Actually, no, I'll just do it from the high from Thursday. And so maybe that's the breakout level we want to be looking at. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. But anyway, switching over to the 10-minute time frame just to kind of see how this traded yesterday with that that downtrending line that I just drew. Yesterday's trading, we did go up to that. Not surprising, I did kind of pivot it based on that level. And so we did get rejected from it right at the end of the day, last 20 minutes of trading or so, it looks like. And I'm just making sure I am streaming, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. I had kind of a last minute setup. I just wanted to make sure. Oh my gosh, because YouTube live control panel. I'm just gonna play something. Okay. Okay, yeah, weird. Anyways, there's this weird display thing that is actually not that useful. Control panel. Anyways, sorry to distract from that. Did get rejected here and then pulled back in the after hours, going up to that downtrend, and yeah, hit a high during pre-market. This might be a bad luck number of $606.66. Lots of sixes there. But yeah, I mean, I don't really think that's anything to be worried about. But again, yeah, the blue gap up here that has previously been filled right around 608, and then the gap down here that has also previously been filled right around 602. I feel like we're probably going up to 608, but we'll have to see. And anyways, yeah, enough looking over at the SPY here. Let's look at the SPX. I think it just gives a little bit better data for, all-time highs, stuff like that. But yeah, here again, looking at the 10-minute time frame, did close yesterday on the 6th at a price of $6,083.57, being up about 1/3%, which is, very similar to the SPY. And so looking at this, the 10-minute time frame, let's just look at what we saw yesterday for the 6th. Did see a gap up into the open of yesterday, and then got some, kind of sideways consolidation, pull down. This corresponded with, a spike in the UVIX. And I'm not actually sure what that corresponded with, what news, but then, towards the end of the day, did get this nice bounce, closing, or actually hitting a high, closing towards that high, around that high being at $6,084.03. If I do switch over to the daily time frame, we can just get a little bit bigger of a picture of these nice 4 green candles shown here. Also, putting in these lower highs, just kind of draw the same thing that I drew on the SPY, connecting with that open, and then the high from yesterday on Thursday right here, we can see that downtrending level. So yeah, we'll have to see if we do break above that. I suspect we will be getting above this previously filled gap that was at $6,101.24, potentially getting up to that all-time high of $6,128.18. I suspect the next couple weeks that will be happening. And yeah, did get a very nice retest of this yellow downtrend just at the beginning of the week. So it's just been a really nice week. And maybe this stands out to you, maybe it doesn't. But one thing, we do have this kind of pattern here with the SPX SPY as well, probably some other stocks, is you might notice we have been kind of trading with this cycle of not necessarily 2 weeks ago, not last week, but the week before, because we did, start from this low here. This was on the 13th, so this was a Monday. Low on Monday, going up 5 days. Did continue the next 5 days, going up here, and then had some panic on Monday. This was related to DeepSeek. And then 5 days, more or less going up, but then kind of closing the week with this bearish engulfing candle. And then a gap down panic here. This was because of the tariff and or trade wars that have since been resolved, bouncing, going up. So I wonder if over the weekend there will be some news that spooks the markets. We do see a pullback, maybe properly coming down to the 618 here at 5,900. $8.87, or maybe even coming down to the 786 here around $5,850. And, these levels, on Monday being a very nice dip buying opportunity for that dip to be bought up and for us to continue higher. And so I don't necessarily think that's going to be happening this week. When you start to see patterns like this, I feel like they tend to kind of prove us wrong. Just like over here, we do see this kind of continued rejection from this yellow downtrend. See that pattern happening, and then what happens? Then we break above it. Now it's support. So now, as I draw this, line here, I think now might be the time that we actually break above that, proving that pattern wrong, breaking it, and continuing higher. So yeah, I think that this looks really good. I think that we're probably going up in about 12 minutes. The jobs data, whether it's jobless report, whatever, we'll look up that in just a minute. But yeah, let's look over at Bitcoin now. It's been kind of, a boring week, but I have to say it's been nice being able to add more below 100,000. I was definitely adding up here. I do a daily DCA, nothing too exciting with that. But yeah, it's nice that DCA is now below 100,000, which I do have an alert set here. So I do know when that goes above it. But yeah, when we did have this, kind of massive panic over the weekend, we did bounce from this purple line that I'd drawn a while ago, that's at between $92,000 and $93,000. Here it's drawn precisely at $92,609.40. I suspect that level would have been filled on this dip, and for me, I wasn't really paying attention to where it was going to. I was just thinking, well, there's this CME gap that will probably get filled to the upside, and so I'm not really too worried about that. So I was probably buying the dip too aggressively up here, and I should have waited for a technical level. And so with that being said, I do have this line here at 93,000, about 500. It's a 786 from the retracement that you can see here. And yeah, so I do have a limit buy place for, I think, just $10, nothing too crazy, of Bitcoin at 94,000. But what I might do is, we'll see what starts happening over the weekend, but I might add some more limits, 93, 90, thinking about this level, maybe 92, 91, yeah, and I guess 90. So just kind of going in increments down to take advantage of those dips. But maybe we do start to go even lower. We do have this uptrending red line here based on the low from the 13th and then intersecting with the low from the 2nd. So that was on I guess that was Sunday. But the levels here with the Bitcoin, the opens and closes, the transitions from day to day can be a little bit off because I think it's on East Coast time rather than being on GMT, which is a little bit wonky. But actually, we can flip over to TradingView to get a better idea of that. And so let's see, got all these levels. You got that low over here. And yeah, so this was the low on the 3rd. Yeah, so it's a little bit wonky, like I said in Webull, but let's just draw that line there. I think that's nice. And, do I need this, 100,000 level to still be marked there? I don't know how important that is. What are these other levels that I have? I don't think they're as important. And so I might just confirm, remove, locked. Yes. Okay. And yeah, lower highs here, and this is higher lows now. Maybe what we want to do is come back over here, maybe just switch over to the 10-minute time frame to look at this. And we can see, yeah, we are kind of, let's see, going from the highs of that were these the highs? Not the highs, but right around where that CME gap was filled. We just have this nice downtrend. It does look like we just got rejected from it, and maybe let's see with that drawn right there. Maybe I want to do something similar with. Actually, we've got this kind of nice little parallel channel a little bit. So let's draw that. Let's see, parallel. And maybe, actually, before I draw that, maybe I want to do this on the hourly time frame. Would that look better or more useful? I'm not really sure. But yeah, maybe we could draw this, the intersection over here, intersection over here. And then again, some lows there. So yeah, there's kind of this little bit of a downtrend. Maybe, it's definitely a little bit wonky with all of these levels being broken to the downside. So maybe I want to draw that a little bit differently. Let's see, maybe just from getting the, so wicks above it here, but no closes above. And then, yeah, it's not perfect, but there is, something there. So we'll have to see how we trade around that. Might lock that into place. Maybe switch over to the daily to see how that looks. It's just a little steep. Yeah, so I don't know how useful that is. And I don't really like the parallel channel tool in Webull because it just, extends forever. It'd be nice to just have it be, actually, maybe I can adjust the settings of that parallel channel so it doesn't extend forever. Nope, it's going to extend forever. I really don't like that about it. But oh well, let's just delete that and see. Going back over to the 1 hour time frame, maybe I want to just draw, a trend line here. Let's see about that. And yeah. So, yep, that's about pretty much all my thoughts on Bitcoin. I will reevaluate the where the CME gap is, whatever that is based on today's close, and then we can see if that gap gets filled. And hey, Hydro Hustler, Swing Trader, what's up? KC at PACB. Yeah, good morning. Cheers to you. Got a little coffee right here. It's always a nice reminder. I make the coffee and then I don't drink it until it's cold. PACB, yeah, I can definitely throw that up. I'll do that in just a second. I just want to go over URA. This is one that I have been following and I kind of like doing as the part of the routine for pre-market prep, just because I think uranium is a really nuclear is just a really good thing to be investing in as far as the country goes, building up the energy infrastructure, whether that's for powering, AI, Bitcoin, all this technology that we have. I should really just say blockchain in general, and or just building up the energy grid in the country, and also verging away from fossil fuels. So I think that uranium, nuclear is really good for that. Also green energy, and by diverging away from fossil fuels. And I just think that the technology has advanced so much that it's a little bit safer than it used to be. A lot safer, I should say. But yeah, anyways, URA closed at 28.36 yesterday, being down a little more than 2%. And then pre-market being up about a third of a percent. But yeah, I'm just going to extend this shaded box here, and so we'll have it for the entire week. That has been uptrending. As you can probably tell, I do think that this is going to be fading lower, like with this little drawing that I have here. And let's actually just consider the trading for yesterday. It did come down. Volume has been, I think, just steadily kind of decreasing. So this would be Tuesday, I believe, on the 3rd. Nope, this would be Monday. Yep, yes. This is Monday, the 3rd, 4 days here because today is Friday and we don't have a candle yet. So on the 3rd, we did have, volume of 2.9 million. Then that came down to 2.06, 1.89, and then yesterday 1.87. And so, yeah, I don't really know how that would correspond with this. But we have seen kind of like, move up, then gap down. And with the MACD, kind of these waves being positive. But now this wave is looking fairly weak compared to this one. And so I think this is probably going to be breaking lower. And I suspect, I've got this Fibonacci extension drawn here from the high of January 24th at 3160, coming to the low of January 27th. That was at a price of 26.93. And then going up to this high that was hit on the 31st. So we can see that extension here. And the 100% extension from that would be bringing price down to around 24.68, 24.50. I do have an alert here around 25. And also, bigger picture, I do have, this, I guess I need to adjust the axis here. I do have this 786 here at 24.51, and that is based on this retracement. And that would also be coming down to this uptrending level. So I would definitely start to get interested in either URA, which is, I should have mentioned this earlier, the Global X Uranium ETF, or other uranium nuclear stocks that are perhaps more interesting. And so when it does come down to 25, I would probably start to look into some uranium stocks that seem a little more interesting, because I've heard that this ETF is not really managed that well, or doesn't have the best makeup as far as what's in it. If we do look at the 10-minute time frame real quick, we can just see that, we almost came down to around 28 yesterday, hitting a low on the day of 28.11. But we did, as you can see here, break below 28.76. So not looking so good. We'll have to see if it does bounce, does reclaim some of those levels. And then, I will put up Hydro Hustler's request, which is PACB. Pacific Biosciences. I think I've looked over that before. And then I am, just because it's now right around 8:30, I am going to look up the jobs data. And so let's just see here. Jobs data, February 7th, 2025. Moderate jobs growth. This came out 50 minutes ago. Jobs report live update. So I think it's supposed to come out right around now. And maybe I just want to actually search this on X using Grok. Oh, that's what I used to make the thumbnail. I was excited for Monday's thumbnail, but then posts on. And so let's see. 10 posts. As of 5:30 a.m. today, and that's Eastern, so that would be right now. The most recent jobs data for this date is not available in real time. However, here is a summary of the relevant jobs market information based on available found on X. Initial, okay, so I should have done jobless claims for the week of February 1st. Okay, so continue claims. So there's an increase of 36,000 to almost 9 million the same week as noted on X. And so let's just look at some of these posts. This is February 5th. I thought there was some news coming out today, but maybe not. Maybe I'll have to revisit this in a little bit. Yeah, so I can just flip over to PACB, looking at this on the 1 day time, or on the daily time frame. And so what did I draw over here? I have this line at 171, not sure of the significance of that. Let's just see, did get this nice bounce, putting in, lower lows, lower lows. I think that this looks like it might be putting in maybe a falling wedge or something similar. We do have, these lower highs coming in. I suspect that it will probably get another rejection up here, or maybe it does get rejected from this arbitrary line that I've drawn at 171. Does look like, there was a very nice move on the 5th, going up almost 14% on the day. And then on Thursday, yesterday, did go higher, but wicked higher, closed lower, volume was higher. So let's just think about that volume corresponding with it. And then we could look at like the 10-minute time frame to see how that volume corresponded with this peak here. But so as prices going higher, you do have higher volume. So that's good. That supports the move. But then there's a pullback and a close lower. So that actually suggests that this volume is going to then be corresponding with, a push higher, but then people taking profits up there. So this volume does not really back this move, suggests some weakness. And also just kind of zooming in on the chart here, maybe we could do another kind of downtrend over here, really just being, approximate levels. But there is this, potential downtrend here. And with earnings coming up, it looks like on the 13th, so that's going to be next Thursday, I believe, because I think Valentine's Day is Friday. And we can see that, it does look like it's getting rejected here. So I could see there being another pullback, another kind of retest of the levels over here, and just drawing another trend line, maybe connecting with the lows from over there. Actually, maybe I don't want to draw it like that because, that wasn't too significant. Like this. Let's look at that. We do have these levels over here. I might actually, I'll leave that up there, I guess. Maybe I'll make this line a little bit thicker. This line a little bit thicker. So we can see that. That to me looks like kind of a falling wedge. So yeah, what I could see with the price action, maybe it could go a little bit higher, but ultimately what I would expect to see is maybe a rejection and ideally a bounce here around earnings, maybe another bounce inside this, but then maybe not coming all the way to the bottom and a breakout. So that is, what I would like to see with it. And I will make that line a little bit thicker. And I will make it, let's see, what color should that be? I'll make it light blue. Very nice and soothing. So that is something that I could see. Yeah, I do feel like this is forming this bigger, like wedge pattern, but it's not quite at the end. And I think, one of the stocks that I do go over pretty frequently is NEO. And, that's just, I think, a nice example of a stock being in a wedge for a very long period of time. And so this will, I think it will go higher than where it's at currently. I think there will be more dip buying opportunities, and that might correspond with, there have been lower lows here. So I would not be surprised if it did come back to around 139, the low that was hit on February 4th. And then, start to bounce like that. So, pretty neat chart. I do think there's a lot of potential there. And, and actually, let's see. This does seem like, I don't know. I did just order the book that Roaring Rico was talking about in the Wyckoff video that I shared on the channel. I can actually just share that, where I posted it on the channel. And so we can just see over here. This video, I'd recommend checking that out. And also just, I think like the way that I like to do analysis, I think I'm more of the type of person that likes to look at stuff like this, longer time frame, not as exciting as far as, pumping stuff, getting views, but just kind of I'm a little bit slower paced. And so I think that looking at something like this, yeah, I mean, this just looks like, that wedge that I had drawn there. I mean, I think that this, I'm actually going to delete this. I don't think that's too significant anymore. But yeah, this seems like it's been potentially accumulating for some time. But yeah, oh, and we could look over at options data with this. There is options with it. It is around, $1, so probably not too exciting as far as that data goes, but I can look over at the unusual whales data, and I'm just going to go over to TRL list, and from this, I will look up PACB, see if there's anything interesting over here, anything that stands out, and a contract that I suppose I would be interested in with this is maybe getting up to like, this pivot low over here, right around 574. Is that the actual low? 574. Yeah, so I can lock that level in place. And maybe, that's a level that might get rejected from or something. So maybe a good level to take profits at. It's a pretty big move to the upside. But yeah, just thinking about that, what are some targets for, actually, maybe I want to make this yellow, make it kind of a caution level. And then up here, I could have, another level to consider around 1065 or 1050. Make that thick, make that red. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that is where this could potentially be going. And so that would be like, strikes I would want to look at for call contracts. And so, 574, so let's think about 5 or 6, and then up here right around 10 for that red line. And so, and I like to go further out into the future. I just like to give myself buffer. So I'm going to look here at January 16th. I'm going to look at calls and the strikes that I'm interested in. Like I said, 5. So let's add that. And then also looking at 10, like I said, let's not look at the 8. And let's, just look at the data over here. I would not expect there to be a lot of volume traded. We can see the past few days, no trading of the $5 strike, so not really too exciting there. Not much volume. You might have a hard time getting filled. Same thing with this other one. And then if we just look at this data over here, I'm going to expand this so we can look at it. This is 1 day for the, let's see, the call and put, the net call and put premium, and the stock price here from yesterday on Thursday, and we can see that net premium came down by almost $6,000. Not a lot of money behind it, and the net put premium came down by almost $4,000, whereas the net call premium came down by even more, by about $5,500, and we can see that here with the zero line being right where the cursor is. The net put premium in red coming down, the net call premium coming down even lower in green, this net volume being, the selling. And if we look at the bear bull slider, just behind me, we can see that is majority on the bearish side, but that's only at 43%. So take it with a grain of salt. That neutral could be, maybe 50-50, bearish, bullish. But yeah, just looking at the chart here, does seem like, net bearish because the net call premium did come down lower than the net put premium. And if we do, let's just look at the past 14 days. What stands out about this? We do have a lot of calls being bought over here on January 22nd. The net call premium ended the day up by only 80,000, so not a lot of money behind it. So not too, let's see, exciting there. Yeah, I mean, this is just not a lot of money traded, so I just don't think that the options data really gives us, sheds too much light on the stock price. But yeah, I mean, if this is a company that you're very interested in, if this is something that looking at for a long-term hold, I think that this looks like a really nice setup looking at the daily time frame. And yeah, I mean, I think that this could be, potential 2x. And, with that being said, 2x, the high over here, maybe I just want to point that out, was 272. So I need to adjust that. Should be magnetic there. And so, yeah, maybe that's a level to be looking at, maybe wanting to break out above that level. And yeah, so that would be, I think, a really nice sign that this is going higher. But yeah, with earnings, what I might want to do, just, out of curiosity, I probably will not trade this, but I did mention the low over here of 139. And so I might put an alert on their 139 price below. Maybe that would get this, get my attention on this. And then maybe, not buying calls, but maybe selling a cash secured put could be a nice way to pick up some shares of this, or maybe just to trade some premium. So if it does come down to 139, that would then be below 150. And so looking at the options data here, February 21st, that would, sorry, I'm switching back and forth, but earnings before, February 21st. So maybe could look at picking up a put. So just flipping over the puts here, or selling a cash secured put. So that would, get a premium of, 5 cents per share. So that's $5 per contract. So would have to put $150 or $145 effectively on the side, getting that $5 in premium. And then if it closes below 150 on the 21st, then you pick up 100 shares at 150 minus that premium of $5, and that would get you, 145 or 100 shares at an average price of 145. So maybe that's an appealing way to go with this. And so, yeah, I mean, I will wait for 139, and I'm actually going to put a note for myself on here, just saying, alerted, pick up $1.50 cash secured put. And then, yeah, that would be, they changed the way that this is happening. So yeah, maybe I'll put that right there if I do get that alert. So yeah, super cool. Thank you for the request, Hydra Hustler. I hope that is helpful for you. And then, yeah, I am just going to flip over to a couple that I'm kind of intrigued by. One is Rocket Lab. This is one I had covered back here, and, it's just like, having a tough time, like knowing when, this boring consolidation here ends and it starts to break out. I was not paying attention to it. And here it does look like I have an alert here at, that's below. I should have changed it to above. But anyways, I'm just going to delete that alert because I don't need it anymore. But yeah, let's look. I have all of these levels, and I'm actually just going to clear the chart. And so I should say the reason why I'm interested in Rocket Lab, which did close yesterday at $27.68, being down. That's why I'm interested in it by about 3.25%. The reason why I'm interested in it is because, yeah, and actually maybe before I get into that tangent, let's any new posts on it. and I actually might have a notification on it. As a last check, here's what I can share from recent posts. Several posts mention the anticipation for the jobs report scheduled for release at 8 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. There's a focus on non-farms payroll, unemployment rate, and average hourly rate expectations. So I might actually just pull up this. So Gareth Soloway did post something. I'm sure he posted about it. And so jobs report comes in weaker than expected at 143,000 versus 160K forecast. However, yields are popping and markets seeing weakness. So yeah, when yields go up, market comes down. Gareth talks about that in his game plan, which I do want to start watching in about 15 minutes. So I will check that out. And so he says, why? Because average hourly earnings were higher than expected at 0.5% versus 0.3% expected. People making more money equals inflation. And so, yeah, we might be, before I get into Rocket Lab more, I do want to look at, let's see, the SPY. Now it looks like it's down a little bit, approximately flat. So yeah, we might be getting rejected from this downtrend, pulling back. And with that being said, maybe we do get a little bit of a pop in the UVIX, but I think it might be kind of short-lived. And so I personally had 3 shares. I trimmed one at 20%, and then I trimmed one yesterday at break even. Not too exciting. I could have, made more had I just, had limit sells and exited. So maybe I want to do that next time. And so I might close out my last remaining share today, maybe at break even, with the plan of picking maybe one up at 27 or 25 and then lower below that. But anyways, let's talk about Rocket Lab. And so the reason why I wanted to talk about Rocket Lab is because of a post on X let's see if I go over to home here. We can see some more posts. And Bronx Viking had some posts. There's one that I liked recently. But yeah, he's been talking about ASTS and some other ones that have already moved a lot. And I was like, well, they've already moved a lot. BB, BlackBerry. This is one that, I was covering for a while, and I had taken some profits on calls, but then I got left behind on it. So, very intrigued by it. I like the stock. I just think it's funny, but waiting for a cool off a little bit. And so this guy had posted another one. I need it. And so the Bronx Viking, has been following OKLO, which I've covered a little bit. Big Bear AI, BBAI, ASTS, all of those is kind of taken off, but Rocket Lab has not. And so that's kind of why I'm interested in also having this red day. And if we do look at the chart, we do have, let's see, I could probably draw a parallel channel with this. And let's see. So if I do, just connect the highs over here with the open, we do have this nice little parallel channel that it has been trading in. And we do have this kind of nice consolidation over here on the shorter term. Maybe just draw some trend lines here. And no closes below this downtrend. Maybe I can do something over here. It's not exactly parallel, but it is approximately. And so, this one of the ones that he's been talking about did have this nice big move up and then a retracement. And so we could actually draw a retracement on this to see where this could be pulling back to. And let's just see what those levels are. The low over here from the 14th was at 23.42. So just making sure those levels are correct. And then, I just want to look at the proportions. And I'm not looking for a 100% retracement, but the 786, that could correspond with a retest of that parallel channel. So kind of intriguing there. And then the 618 right around there at around 27.21. And so while, I think that this is probably a little too pricey for looking at options, but especially with earnings coming up at the end of the month, but I do think that there's some potential for, maybe picking up some shares and this going up to new all-time highs. And so from where it's currently at up to, actually, I don't know if that's all-time high. Let's see, all-time high, 30 or 52-week high at least, 33. 34. If I do just remove the drawings and then switch over to monthly, yeah, all-time high. Okay, so yeah, I think that this could be going back to all-time highs. And from current price, let's just get a measurement. It's not a trend channel. I want, and actually maybe I could draw a trend channel rather than what we're looking at with this parallel, kind of approximate parallel that I have. But anyways, from current price going up to the all-time highs, what kind of a move is that? That is around 20%. That's kind of what I look for in options. And so I think that this could be a nice stock to pick up a share here, or a small position for maybe a 20% swing or more. Yeah, and then lower risk with the earnings coming up. And then let's look over at, let's see, the contract. I think I did have some stuff on the bookmarks with Rocket Lab. Okay, so there's puts. I don't necessarily want to look at puts. I really just wanted to look at this data here. And we can see that from yesterday, looks like it was from the bear bull slider, more on the bullish side, but only 45%. And then if we do look at the data here, we do have the net put premium going up, being positive, but the net call premium in green being more positive. But overall, it does look like the volume was suggesting more selling of these contracts. And if we do look over the course of the day, net put premium increased by over 600,000, whereas net call premium increased by almost 7,500. So more so on the bullish side, but it is, not super strong. Looking at this 14 days, what do we see here? Price consolidating nicely. Kind of looks like a bull flag here in the yellow there. So that does look kind of nice. And then we do have, lots of call premium. So yeah, this stands out to me as being pretty exciting because on this day, this is January 21st, kind of looks like a bull flag in the call premium, spiking up and staying up. And so on that day, net put premium came down by $1 million, over $1 million, whereas net call premium went up by nearly $12 million. So that actually looks really good. And so with this consolidation that we've seen going back to, let's see, the 21st here, this consolidation, yeah, I think this looks really, really good. Whether that's for a just, swing for about 20% or for a continuation to a break above this, which I feel like is probably more likely, holding shares safer than contracts. Yeah, I don't have any contracts looked up just yet, and I do need to be ending the stream in about 7 minutes, so I don't want to be spending too much time on that. And one thing that I did want to pull up with Wolfspeed that I have talked about, this is something that I was just kind of poking around. The Bronx Viking was talking about Celsius just looking terrible. And so maybe I'll just pull that up. And let's see. Yeah, Celsius. Gee, I can't wait to go to high school. And so this guy's talking about Celsius looking good, following the Bronx Vikings post here that Celsius just looks terrible. And yeah, so this does look like this is distribution. And so that would be like, a bear flag, a continuation lower. I do have some calls on this, not a ton, but maybe, I do want to take some losses on it. Celsius, that being said. But anyways, I don't know why I was just thinking about looking at short interest. And so I was looking up some of the stocks that I hold. Wolf, I just kind of got into one call here that expires in January. So I do have plenty of time before it expires. But yeah, this just looks like really nice. Been trading below this downtrend going back quite some time. And yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to be breaking out. Could also, though, be coming down to, 520 or so. So I think it's good to be cautious about that. Yeah, so with Wolfspeed, I was interested to look at the short interest of Wolfspeed. And so just from typing in Google up here, short interest Wolfspeed percentage of float. And so it does look like from up here, the AI overview, and maybe I want to zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit clearer. So as of February 5th, the short interest percentage of float for Wolfspeed was 27%. So that strikes me as being kind of a high amount of short interest. And so this means that 27.13% of the float, or number of shares available for trading, were sold short. So over a quarter, that seems like kind of a lot. And so let's just look at the show more here. So the explanation is that short interest is the number of shares that have been sold short. I think we're aware of that. Short interest percentage of float is calculated by dividing the number of shares sold short by the stock float and then multiplying that by 100. So it's a percentage. A short interest percentage above 20 is considered high. So yeah, maybe we could see some squeeze potential with Wolfspeed. So that's kind of intriguing. And the higher the percentage, the more likely the stock is to be squeezed, like I was just saying. And so yeah, just basic stats down here. Market cap, less than $1 billion, but pretty close there. Short interest does look like it's almost 42 million short of float. Like I said, 27%. Days to cover, 2.25% days. And risk-free rate, whatever that means, more rows. I actually don't want to get into all of that details. And I'm just kind of curious to look at this chart above here. Total value of short positions, market total value of trade common shares in the market. So this is not related to Wolfspeed. But yeah, that strikes me as being pretty interesting. Maybe I want to add more to the calls that I have, but I am a little cautious with this level down here, the 786 from this retracement that you can see on the chart. 786 coming down to 521. That might be a level to get more heavy on, wait for that dip. Or maybe the gap fill down here at 482. Maybe we actually sweep the lows here and then start to kind of, move into something that could really trigger some moves to the upside. So yeah, excited about that. And anyways, I am going to close this down a few minutes early just so I can get ready to watch. Let's see, I'll just pull it up here so you can see it. Gareth Soloway's, game plan that does start here at 8 a.m. And so yeah, I like to follow Gareth Soloway. I don't really like his channel, Verified Investing. There's just too much noise on it, too many other people making videos. I just like his stuff, helps me with my technical analysis. So yeah, I'd encourage checking that out. 8 a.m., 9 a.m. I am in the Midwest. That's why I was saying that. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a wonderful Friday. It's possible I'll be doing an AMC video later today if the gap does get filled. But if not, I'm just going to wait, and then I'll do my last options theses video tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys have a great Friday trading. And, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe